Imagine building a tunnel large enough to fit a 3-story building, stretching 72 kilometers beneath the earth, carrying thousands of gallons of water every second. Now imagine it costing over $20 billion, more than enough to construct 100+ sports stadiums. This isn't science fiction. This is California's bold plan to secure its water future, the Delta Conveyance Project. Nicknamed by many as California's underground river, this massive infrastructure undertaking is the state's answer to an escalating crisis of water scarcity, climate change, and outdated infrastructure. It's ambitious, controversial, and perhaps one of the most significant public works projects in the United States in decades. But what exactly is this tunnel? Why does it matter? And is it worth the cost? Let's dive in. Figuratively, a state of extremes, California's water problem. California, the land of golden beaches and sprawling farmland, has a long and complicated relationship with water. The northern part of the state receives most of the rainfall and snow, while the southern half, where most people live and farms operate, remains dry for much of the year. This natural imbalance has forced California for over 80 years to engineer ways to transfer water from north to south. Starting in the 1940s, mega projects like the Central Valley Project and the State Water Project introduced aqueducts, reservoirs, and canals to bridge the gap. But as climate change accelerates and population pressures grow, these systems are no longer sufficient or reliable. Now California is turning underground for a solution, introducing the Delta Conveyance Project. The Delta Conveyance Project is the latest and most advanced iteration of an idea that's been bouncing around for decades. Past versions were known as the Peripheral Canal, the Bay Delta Conservation Plan, and the California Water Fix. At its core, the goal remains the same: move water more efficiently and securely from the Sacramento River in Northern California to the thirsty regions further south. The difference this time? A massive underground tunnel running beneath the Sacramento-San Joaquin Delta, one of the most ecologically fragile and seismically active areas in the country. This single tunnel will span 72 kilometers, about 45 miles, and have a diameter of 11 meters, wide enough for 2 lanes of traffic, or as some put it, a small building. It will be buried 30 to 40 meters deep beneath homes, farmland, and highways to minimize surface disruption. How it works: from river to reservoir. 1. Water intakes. The process starts near the towns of Hood and Cortland in Northern California. Here, 2 massive water intakes, each 1.6 kilometers long, will draw water gently from the Sacramento River. These aren't just basic channels, they are precision-engineered facilities featuring advanced fish screens that allow water in, but keep aquatic wildlife, like salmon and the endangered Delta smelt, out. Each intake can process up to 170 cubic meters of water per second, enough to fill an Olympic swimming pool in about 15 seconds. Crucially, the water enters slowly, reducing harm to fish populations. The intakes are designed to endure the future. They can handle a 200-year flood and up to 3.1 meters of sea level rise, making them resilient against both natural disasters and the effects of climate change. 2. The tunnel. Once the water is collected, it flows into the underground tunnel, the main artery of the project. This isn't your average pipe. It's constructed using thick, watertight concrete rings, each about 46 centimeters thick, built to resist earthquakes. And that seismic safety isn't just for show. There's a 72% chance of a magnitude 6.7 or higher earthquake hitting the Bay Area by 2043. If such a quake occurs, the existing surface water systems could be catastrophically damaged. That's why this underground route, with its deep, reinforced structure, is being billed as a more secure alternative. 3. Digging deep. Constructing this tunnel involves the use of tunnel boring machines, massive, cylindrical devices resembling robotic worms. These machines slowly grind their way through the earth, excavating and simultaneously installing the tunnel's inner lining. The TBMs use a combination of rotating blades, water, and foam to loosen soil and rock. The material, known as reusable tunnel material, mostly composed of sand, gravel, and clay, will be stored and possibly repurposed for levee repair or habitat restoration. To keep the project on track, 4 to 6 tunnel boring machines, massive, may operate at once, each boring a section. Depending on geology and logistics, it could take 3 to 7 years to finish each segment. 4. Pumping to the aqueduct. At the southern end of the tunnel lies a new state-of-the-art pumping plant. This facility will lift the water into the Bethany Reservoir, a key junction for the California Aqueduct. From here, the water is distributed across the state, supplying 27 million people and 300,000 hectares of farmland. The system is optimized to capture water during rare but intense storms, which are expected to become more frequent due to climate change. For example, during a powerful storm in January 2023, the system, had it been operational, could have collected enough water to supply 3.3 million homes for an entire year. Construction, a Herculean effort. The project is expected to take 14 years to complete. During peak construction, it will employ over 5,000 workers, providing a major boost to the regional economy. Of course, building a 72-kilometer tunnel isn't quiet or easy. More than 200,000 truck trips will be required to transport equipment, materials, and excavated earth. But efforts are being made to reduce noise and disruption, such as undergrounding power lines, avoiding sensitive wildlife areas, and limiting pile driving, a loud and disruptive activity. The price tag, worth it or wasteful? The current estimated the cost for the Delta Conveyance Project sits at $20 to $25 billion, though some reports suggest it could climb even higher. It's already up from the $16 billion initial estimate. Most of the funding will come from water agencies, which means the cost will ultimately be passed on to ratepayers, especially in Southern California. Critics argue that the real cost could balloon further, citing cautionary tales like the Channel Tunnel and Boston's infamous Big Dig, which both ran billions over budget. Others point out that for all its scale, the project might not deliver significantly more water than current systems, raising questions about whether it's cost-effective. Environmental and legal battles. Not everyone is on board. Environmental groups, tribal nations, and local communities have raised concerns. The Delta region is one of the most sensitive ecosystems in California, and opponents fear that even carefully designed projects could lead to habitat destruction, declining fish populations, and water quality degradation. Legal challenges are ongoing, and the project has faced intense scrutiny under California's stringent environmental laws. However, Governor Gavin Newsom has made it a top priority, pushing for faster permitting and streamlined approvals in the name of climate resilience. To supporters, the project is essential for the future. To opponents, it's a high-stakes gamble that risks too much for too little. A tunnel to the future? California stands at a crossroads. Climate models predict a future of intensifying droughts, megastorms, and rising sea levels. The state's aging water systems, largely built in the mid-20th century, aren't designed to handle the 21st century challenges. The Delta Conveyance Project represents a dramatic and expensive bet on infrastructure. It aims to protect water supplies for millions while preserving fragile ecosystems and withstanding the physical forces of a changing planet. But whether this underground river becomes a beacon of sustainable engineering or a cautionary tale of overspending remains to be seen. Thanks for watching, Water Warriors. If you found this deep dive into California's epic underground river as fascinating as we did, smash that like button like a tunnel boring machine hitting bedrock. Got thoughts about the Delta Conveyance Project? Is it a brilliant solution or a billion-dollar blunder? Let us know what you think down in the comments. We read everyone. And hey, if you love learning about mind-blowing engineering, mega projects, and the future of infrastructure, subscribe to our channel.